Hello.
Yeah, that's your name.
Squirrels got me.
Big Jim.
Yeah.
Really cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
That's good that you think that of it, because that's what deer hunting typically is cold and fun.
Yesterday morning, I'm glassing up on the pass, and I see these deer moving, and I'm like, ooh, there's some deer moving. All of a sudden, I just see this person just head down, just hauling ass, wearing shorts and a t-shirt with a pack on. And I'm like, is that Tard? My dad always talks about floating through the woods like the autumn breeze.
So Robert's
when you're
the
275 pounds, I don't know how you do that, but
the Freightliner. It's just like a creeper. You're just kind of up in the corner watching what's going on down there.
Yeah.
You know.
He's like,
he's up there slapping, pissing all over everything.
Is it warm yet?
How did you know the name of the actor?
That's right. I know.
How did you say his name?
Hervé Villechaize.
You know what Pertnear means.
If you know what Pertnear means and you live in America, you're a redneck too.
Welcome to the Log Talk Podcast, brought to you by Pertnear Outdoors. What's up, gang? Welcome back to another episode with us here. This is your host, Billy, and I believe this will be episode 58. This week, we had the pleasure to sit down with Glen Stratton, who is now the chair of the New York Backcountry Hunters and Anglers chapter, and he has recently taken over that post as Todd Waldron's term was up. And I guess first and foremost, thank you to Todd for everything he did to get the group to where they are today. And now he's able to sit back and actually enjoy being a member of BHA and all the stuff that we're doing here in New York. So kudos to Todd and congratulations to Glen. So Glen and I sat down, had a nice chat. I won't get too much into what we're discussing, but what I will tell you before we get into this chat is that this will be posting on Monday the 31st, so the last day of the month. And Thursday, and each Thursday during the month of September, we will be doing a live Train to Hunt series covering kind of all the basics that you need to know as you get out in the woods if you are a new hunter, and even if you are not a new hunter. We certainly would love to have you tune in and share any tidbits or any information. But what we're doing is it'll be a live Facebook Zoom meeting. So we'll have a group of panelists for each week. BHA, the regional coordinators are putting this on, as well as the help from the communications team that we have assembled over the last few months. And we got a good curriculum to cover. So I will actually be part of week 2 and 3 and talking about some stuff that go along with those discussions, and excited to be part of that and excited to help and try to get people out there and get people success this fall. So head on over to the New York chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers on Facebook. Give that a search, and you can register either through the Zoom if there's still room within the Zoom meeting. I think we bumped that up to 85 participants, so you'll most likely you will just be a call-in to the Zoom meeting, or you can just tune in to the Facebook Live video and watch there. That might be a little bit easier, as you'll be able to comment and interact with the panelists of the discussion. So head on over there, hit the interested button or going button, and then you'll get that reminder when the meeting is going to start, and look forward to seeing you there. So that's that. I'm recording this on Saturday afternoon while both the children are taking a nap. So thank you, Lord Jesus. The wife is working, so I'm doing this all alone today. Now I know what she feels like, but it's just not that hard. At least when they're sleeping, it's not. But anyway, so I'm recording this during the midday. This evening, Danny and Russ will be coming over, and Russ is the one that's helping us with Windy Brew here to do our own beer for Pertnear Outdoors. So we did that poll a couple weeks ago. We will be doing an IPA. So Russ is coming over, and the three of us are going to pick out a kind of a recipe or what we're trying to achieve with the beer. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We're gonna do a naming contest during the month of September, and then we will be having a kind of like a rollout party and the beginning of deer season party at Windy Brew on the 30th, which is a Wednesday of September. So we'll be doing that during the evening there. We'll have the beer on tap. You can buy 6-packs or 4-packs. I think they do 4-packs of cans, or you can do growlers. And we'll have a portion of the proceeds of that will be going to some nonprofit organizations that support deer hunting and maybe even some food bank type stuff, looking into a couple different things. So that'd be awesome to have your participation. Keep your eyes peeled for the naming contest. Get your head turning. It's going to be an IPA. We want something silly and catchy because that's what we're all about, trying to have some fun with this. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll make sure we're posting on Instagram and Facebook about that so you can get your vote in, and the winner will get a little prize pack from us. So we're excited about that happening, and we will be brewing the beer. I think we're going to do it the 9th of September. So Danny and I are actually going to get to help in that process, which is pretty cool. So excited about that. Lastly, I figured out this weekend how to get the podcast up on YouTube, so they'll automatically post there as well. So if you're a person who enjoys turning it on your computer at work or on the TV at home or whatever, just to have some background noise, that's how you like to listen to podcasts, we will have just the audio version of the podcast at this time, unless we have a Zoom video that goes along with it. We'll have the audio version up on YouTube. So if you like to listen that way, check it out. And we're trying to get it up on every other platform out there that we're not already currently on. So podcast is growing. This was our best month yet. Super proud of everybody out there for supporting us, and I guess not proud, but appreciative. And we're almost exactly a year in at this point, and it's been quite the ride. So we're looking forward to what this year brings with the podcast as we continue to get better and we continue to learn, and hopefully we can continue to put out content that is relevant to the listeners, is interesting, educational, entertaining, all of the above. And if you could do us a huge favor and tell a friend, share it on your social media, give us a like and a review or a rating on iTunes or any of those the apps you listen on. I've been doing a little research, and that certainly does help. So it'll help get us up the list and get more relevant. But at the end of the day, I really want to grow it around here in New York. The local vibe is great, and we got a great season coming ahead of us, and I want to make sure we connect with as many people as possible. So thank you again, everyone. Have a good week. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Tell your parents you love them. Tell your friends you love them. We need more love in this world. Shit's gone crazy. So thank you so much. Keep feeding them. Stay healthy. And wash your hands.
Here, I think I do. It was. Yeah.
Must be something in your generation about the show notes. You guys have always got to have preparation, which I did. I prepared.
Yeah.
I was brainstorming this morning. I was driving. I was thinking. I had one goal for today, though, and that was to get you to start the podcast with saying my favorite thing that you say.
Oh, Frank and Beans.
There you go. And by you saying that, we know who's on the podcast today.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting down with Glen Stratton, who is you're now the chair of the New York State Backcountry Hunters and Anglers organization, correct?
That's right.
Is that the correct title?
That is the correct title, yep.
You are the queen of the hive.
Yeah.
And that hive is a buzzing right now.
It's a buzzing.
Yeah.
It's buzzing for sure.
So thanks for coming out here and meeting me. So we're sitting down at Darien Lake State Park. It's a good excuse for me to come check this place out. I've never been. It's right in my backyard, a few minutes from my house, but it's a nice spot for us to sit down under a nice pavilion and plug in some power and chew the fat a little bit. So
yeah, the drive over this morning, I was noticing the trees are starting to get a little color in them, so that always gets the blood moving there.
Oh yeah. It's been dry too. I think that's been a lot of leaves in my yard have been falling. I just think it's just been such a it was a dry June, and then I feel like we had a little bit of moisture in July, and then August again has been super dry.
Yeah,
it's been
it
hot.
has been. We had a good rain early this morning. We needed it.
Did you get that too?
Yeah.
Holy hell! That was a thunderstorm. I was thinking to myself last night too that we haven't had a whole lot of bad storms this summer. We had a couple early, and that's about it.
But we ain't had any rain to speak of this year at all. It's bone dry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was welcome. I thought I was in Florida there for a minute last night.
Yeah. Yeah, we had one that cracked over the house. That thing was close. Like it was right on top of us.
Yeah.
And I was surprised I didn't have my wife hit me or the kids crying. I look over and she's out of bed. She was feeding Kate. So yeah, she was not in bed when she came in. She made sure I was aware that she was up and feeding the child when that thunder hit. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's full survival mode at my house right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man, we haven't slept in like 2 weeks. These kids are freaking working us, but we'll forget these days. We'll get past them, and
they'll be gone too quick.
They will. So we're trying to enjoy it while we can.
Yeah. So you any more in the plans there?
What's that?
Another edition?
I think we're just about set. Yeah, and it's nights like last night where it's like, yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Yeah. We sit there and talk, and it's like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna do that. We got our beautiful boy and beautiful girl, and we're happy as can be with that.
That's right. That's all you can wish for right there.
I can't imagine 3. I mean, we've got, like, my brother and sister-in-law, they got 3 kids, and once you get more than more than 2, it's like you're totally outnumbered. And
yeah, I got some good Amish friends right down the road. They got 14.
God bless them. I don't know. I can't comprehend that. And like that wasn't out of the norm back in the day. I mean, if you didn't have 5 or 6 kids in your family, what the hell were you doing?
Yeah.
You know.
That's right.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I cannot fathom having.
Yeah, 2.
I guess you just figure it out and live with it. But I mean, could you imagine parenting for 15 years
possible
straight, parenting a newborn?
I'm too old for that.
No. Even when you're young and full of energy, that sounds like something that I'm not wanting to sign up for.
No. I'm good.
So I wanted to get you on here. So this is towards the tail end of August, and as many people know, I'm involved with Backcountry Hunters and Anglers here in New York with our chapter, and where there's a lot going on internally with us here in New York of things that we're trying to get going. It's been very challenging.
Yeah.
And so I guess before I get going and talking all about BHA, I'll say this. So there's a lot going on, and we wanted to get you on. It's timely because September is Public Lands Month.
That's right.
And so we wanted to get some of the stuff that we're going to be doing. We wanted to get some of that stuff organized and then have this chat with you and I to get it out on our platform at the beginning of September so people know what we're up to here in New York with Backcountry Hunters and Anglers.
Yeah.
And then also just kind of, I know you and I can sit here and we can chat for a while about all kinds of stuff, but that's kind of the goal of today's conversation is to talk about what we're up to here in New York with our organization and what we've got going on. But I guess first and foremost, I want to kind of introduce you and let you kind of talk a little bit about your background. And I know you were on Breeding 'em Radio, but we have a lot of new listeners since last deer season when we first started the podcast. So many people may not know who you are and what your background is. So let us have it.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me over, Billy. I appreciate it. And yeah, you're right. It is timely for to come on. Public Land Month is coming right around the corner here in September. But my background, I'm not from New York. My wife is from New York.
I never would have guessed.
Well, it's my New York City accent sometimes gives that away, but I'm really not from New York. But so my wife, she's from upstate New York, and so that's where we reside now. Spent most of my career, all my career, I worked for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service as a wildland firefighter. And I was riding over this morning listening to the news about California, and I can honestly say I don't miss it. It's that's a lot of stress.
Did you ever? So you were in Florida, but did you ever travel outside of Florida to help with fires in other areas of the country?
Oh yeah. We'd go all over the country doing that. So
yeah, California's had a couple years in a row here with some bad fire years.
Yeah.
And now, Colorado is near and dear to me because I've been out there quite a few times and spent a lot of time out there. And it definitely sucks it sucks to see the impact of it. Fire isn't always a bad thing for the environment.
No.
But, when it's out of control and there's no stopping it, that's what gets hard.
It's so many years of fire suppression, it's taking its toll on the environment.
I'm curious. I'm sitting here with a guy who did it for his whole career. I mean, what's your feelings and thoughts on fire and controlled fire and I think what you're leading into is that we've gotten so good at preventing fire
Yeah.
that it's almost a bad thing, because then you've just got it like a tinderbox out there that's
Oh,
just
yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my whole career, was I was a wildland firefighter. In Florida, we done a lot of prescribed burning. In my district, we would burn 40 to 60,000 acres a year prescribed burn.
Wow.
And of course, Florida's a year-round growing season, so everything it don't never stop. So you can burn something today, and in 5 years, you're right back to where you was.
Yeah.
But as you know, fires have three things to burn: fuel, heat, a heat source, and oxygen. So, whenever in 1910, when the bad fires come through out in Idaho, U.S. Forest Service implemented the 10 o'clock rule, where all fires would be suppressed by 10 o'clock the next morning. So we got really good at putting fires out in Smoky Bear, the best campaign, most successful campaign in the in the U.S.
Yeah.
Over 100 years, 100+ years, it's taken its toll. And so there's just so much fuel out there. There's so many people living in the urban area or the rural areas. The urban has moved
Sprawl,
out.
yeah.
So it's just there's a whole lot of issues and obstacles that prevent large scale prescribed burning in most parts of the country. When we would do burning in Florida, I say we burned 60,000 acres a year, but some of our biggest burns would be a marsh way out in the where nobody's at.
Yeah.
It'd be a couple thousand acres.
That's not hurting nothing.
So but yeah, fire is good. I wish I'd like to see more fire in New York. They're doing a lot of logging on the state lands
Now
around me
I-
with the Young Forest Initiative.
I read an article in the I don't know, do you get the New York State New York Outdoor News?
Yeah.
And I was reading an article in there, and man, there's endless amounts of people I want to talk to. I have people I could talk to for the next 30 years for this podcast, because I read every bi-weekly paper, and I'm like, oh, this is fascinating. I want to know more, and I think people want to know more.
Yeah.
But that's awesome to see that they're doing that, and there's an initiative that's not just like this one piece; it's many pieces over a 10-year span that they're looking to do.
Yeah.
Which is huge, and it's super important to everything, to the wildlife, to the landscape, to you get these big mature forests that haven't been touched, and either you've got trees that are standing dead that are not allowing stuff to grow underneath them, or you go, I'm fairly familiar with the Finger Lakes, and you get some of these woods that are either they're logged but they're not logged properly, or they're not logged at all, and you get no underbrush.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you get is just these storms like we had last night that come through and are just gully washers, quite frankly, because there's nothing on the ground to slow the water or to divert it or absorb it or anything. It's just straight dirt.
Right.
So it's like, it's great to see the DEC doing that and actually trying to help, because you go in a lot of places in the Adirondacks, there's like hardly any game because there's no food. So if there's no food, it cannot handle large populations of deer and things like that.
Nope, they got to have it.
Yep.
So, and that's just another management tool. Fire, before the Europeans got here, fire was just a natural cause.
Yeah.
Fire would readily burn across this landscape, untouched for thousands of acres, and it would just keep itself in check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was part of it.
Regenerate new, habitat, regenerate trees, the whole nine. And,
and it's almost like we've gotten ourselves so entangled into so many of these things that now we have no choice but to be part of that conservation model.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, when it comes to the fire side of it, we've done so much to prevent fire that now we've created a new situation where we need to be more part of it in prescribing that fire. Or if it comes down to the, like, people get excited about the predator stuff with grizzly bears and wolves, and it's like we interjected ourselves into this system, whether you like it or not. We have a hell of a lot more people in this country right now than we had 100 years ago. Yeah. And we've put ourselves in places that are not natural to be. We've displaced animals like wolves, like grizzly bears, and now you want to bring them back to an environment that is not the same that it was 100 years ago. And I had this conversation on the podcast last week with a kid that lives out in Colorado, and I thought he put it, the way he put it was so great. It's like, everybody is making a lot of these decisions on emotions, but yet they don't understand that the landscape is not what it was 100 years ago when these animals walked that ground. You know, and it's when you take a step back and think about it, it's like, yeah, it's like there's cities at this point in the mountains where 100 years ago, 40 years ago, there was maybe a ski mountain and one road up, one road back. That was it. And now you've got entire, you know, essentially a city, bigger than a lot of the areas here in Western New York, population-wise, in these little tiny mountain towns.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I was all fired up this morning listening to something, and I want to talk to you about it later on in this conversation. But I'm kind of in one of those moods today where it's like, you know, everybody wants to change all this stuff, but nobody wants to acknowledge the fact that we've put ourselves
we're
in the middle of all these things, and we don't. And then it's like, well, we want it the way it used to be. It's like it can, because we've put ourselves in the middle of all this. So
and
now we need to be part of it.
You know, and that's what I would always go back to. You know, it's like what part of used to be do we want to get to?
Right.
You know, what part in history do we want it to get back to? I mean, there's so many people here now and so many obstacles, you know, highways crisscrossing the country. You know, it'll never be like it was.
No.
So, you know, you just got to pick a time on what part do we want to get it to be in, you know. And, you know, and I'm fired up, you know, me too. You know, we are, you know, we've put ourselves in this situation, so we're part of the, you know, we've become part of the problem, but now we can be part of the solution too.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And we can make it better for everybody, for the humans that are here, for the animals that are here. You know, can have we can all live a very healthy and sustainable lifestyle if people are conscious of it and understand all sides of the coin. Yeah. And do you listen to many podcasts or no?
Not a lot.
Okay. So there's a podcast I've really been hot onto of late, especially with the political, you know, where we're at in the country. And there's a congressman out of Texas named Dan Crenshaw, and he has a podcast called "We Hold These Truths." And he's a congressman, so he's engaged in a lot of these different topics and issues that are going on. And he's doing a lot of content right now, like 2 episodes a week, just with everything leading up to the election. But he just had a guy on that they were talking about. It was like rational environmentalism. So this guy he's an environmental. He's an environmentalist, is what he is. Yeah. And typically those individuals, you look at them and they're all pro renewable energy, anti carbon. You know, as far as like no fuels, no anything like that. It's got to be solar. It's got to be wind. And the discussion, I can't do it by any means justice, but I would encourage anybody who has thoughts on the right side or the left side of that discussion to go and listen to that, and listen to somebody who's very well educated, not Dan, the environmentalist, and listen to him and all the different perspectives he had on it. And it was like, like we all have to take a step back and stop with the emotion and just look at this stuff and think about, you know, if you're gonna, and I'm going on a complete tirade here, so I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Or tirade, whatever the hell the right word is there. But he was talking about, if you talk about like wind power and solar power and things like that, the amount of carbon emissions that you're using to create that stuff is more than what you're using to just straight up burn fossil fuels to power things or nuclear energy, stuff like that. So it's just, when you start hearing these things, you start thinking about it, it's like, what are we doing? It's like we're spending, and I'm not saying that renewable energy is not good, but it's like, are we looking at all sides of this, or are we just getting so emotional and just dumping all this money into this stuff for what? Right. You know, I don't know. Yeah. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox. But go check that out. Like, I think it's very interesting because there's a lot of really good information out there that's not on your mainstream television channel or Facebook page or anything else. Like, you got to get out there and check out some of these different perspectives. And, you know, I can be guilty of looking at just one side of it. Yeah. But, you know, I think I'm trying to be open to all these different things, because if you're not listening, if you're not watching what's going on, it's just the media is pulling it right over your eyes. Oh, yeah.
I have grown to have serious trust issues.
For sure.
But, you know, talking back about what we've been talking about as far as us being a part of the problem and the solution, you know, one of the reasons I joined BHA, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, was because I felt that group, you know, went to the politicians. They take it to where the rubber meets the road. You know, I think evidence of that is this passage of the Great American Outdoors Act.
Mm-hmm.
It was I do believe that BHA had a big role in that, and so that's being part of the solution. You know, it's baby steps, but you got to address the issues. You know, we've got all this public land. I mean, we're sitting in a beautiful state park right now. Well, it don't just take care of itself, you know. So you got to have the revenue, and having that with all of our national parks. You know, working with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. You know, for my whole career, I seen where we would have these beautiful wildlife refuges, but then we wouldn't really have the resources to manage them properly. You know, while it's good to have it, you know, it's also good to be able to keep it, you know, manage it, not just the land and the habitat, but the facilities and the equipment. I mean, there's just tons of equipment that goes into keeping these places up, you know, and that just goes all across, you know, state, federal, local, whatever.
Yeah, and as you just can take that for granted. If you're not looking at it and you're just going and enjoying it, you're not really understanding and appreciating.
Yeah.
Whether it's your taxpayer dollars or it's volunteer time or it's an organization that's donating money to help support these sort of things. Like, you know, it's not a for-profit piece of property. Like,
yeah.
I mean, granted, you come into a lot of these state parks, you can buy your Empire State Pass or whatever so you can get in.
Yeah.
And it's essentially a season pass to go and use all the state parks and boat launches and things like that. But, I mean, that's not even covering that's not even covering to clean the toilets, you know. It's it's a lot that goes on these pieces of property.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And, you know, and talking on the, you know, the political side of it, you know, reaching out to these congressmen and women, I mean, it worked. You know, New York on the Great American Outdoors Act had, I believe, 25 of 26 representatives signed on to the bill.
That's awesome.
And both senators, of course. So
yeah.
So it was, so it works. You know, and that's a testament that, hey, engage.
Yep.
You know, for the listeners. You gotta be engaged. My old boss told me, he said, if you ain't in, you can't win.
That's a great saying. It's true.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and if you're not at the table and you're not part of the discussion, then, you know, you don't have a chance to even. Like, I'd rather lose, but have been at the game or in the game.
Yeah.
Than, you know,
that's
not
right.
show up and just say, well, they're not going to listen to me, or it's not going to, you know, I have no say. It's like, well, you know, that you got to be part of it. You're 100% right.
That's right.
So with you, so you retired. You guys moved back up here in New York.
Yeah.
And then how did you end up getting involved in BHA? Like, what was your?
Well, right after I retired, you know, just kind of figuring out what was going on, and my neighbor, Garrett Burback, he's on the board with BHA as well. He had mentioned it to me, and I got to looking into it, and I'm like, hey, this seemed like a pretty good outfit, so I got in it and enjoyed it. Good folks, you know. It's really nice to be around like-minded people, you know, no matter what side of the you know, political parties you're on or whatever. Everybody's, you know, hunters, anglers, outdoor recreationists. You know, they really enjoy, you know, our public lands.
Yeah.
And so I got in it, and then a couple years, and, you know, now I'm on the board, the chair of the board, so I'm enjoying it. It's fun.
And Todd, you know, his term was up.
Yeah.
So you strong-armed him and took over.
Right.
That's
right.
what happened there.
A coup.
There was a coup. Yeah.
But yeah, Todd Baldwin, you know, he done a great job.
Absolutely.
Left a really good.
You got a tractor coming up here.
Yeah. He handed me off a good program. So
he did. We'll let the hot rods get by here.
Yeah.
A couple nice John Deere mowers your taxpayer dollars paid for there.
Yeah, boy.
Look at that. Those tires are nice.
Yeah. Ain't got to worry about them going flat, do you?
No. But yeah, so, you know, BHA in New York, I want to say, what's it, maybe 8 years that we've had a shape, or is it less than that?
Yeah, less than that, like 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
So about 1,000 members at this point.
Right at
correct?
1,000 members, 970 something, yeah.
And you know, it kind of stinks because I think we had some really good momentum going.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and it's just made everything so challenging. to to get together. We had some of the outdoor shows and a couple pint nights, and it gave an opportunity to get people together and learn about what we're all about. But hopefully at some point here we can get things back on track and be able to start engaging and going out and doing field work and stuff like we want to do. With everybody. But
well, with Public Lands Month coming right around here in September, there's a lot of initiatives going on, and hopefully we'll be able to get back in the field. Maybe not in the big groups that we wanted to, but at least we'll be able to get outdoors and with folks and enjoy and do some good on the lands, on our public lands here in New York.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what have you? So you've been a member here in New York for probably 4 years.
4 years. Yeah.
So and you were on the board.
Yeah.
So how have you seen it change? Because I've only been a member for maybe 3 years now.
Yeah. So when I come on, I think there was only like 145 members on it, and we were just getting going. BHA, has been around for a while, but I think they just really were, starting to get a lot of momentum nationally, especially here in the East. Folks think of public lands, a lot of times they think of out west with a big, huge, million-acre forest and stuff like that. Well, while we don't have that here, we do have a tremendous amount of state forest and some federal. Not as big a federal presence here in New York as other states, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You can hunt state land just as good as you can federal land.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Easier.
I don't
A
discriminate.
lot of cases, but so it's grown. In the membership, we were really putting a big emphasis on getting our membership up because, as we know, from a political standpoint, legislatures, they listen. If you got the numbers, they're going to listen, and so I think we're getting there to that point where we're recognized nationally as an organization to listen to, and I don't think we're unreasonable. We, do what's good for the wildlife and the habitat.
Yeah.
And so now this year, we've added a couple teams, so now we have the board, and then we've added a regional events coordinating team. Essentially, it's folks that we try to have representation in all DEC regions. While we're not there yet, we're pretty close. And so those folks the main goal of that team is to organize events, whether it be pint nights, pack outs, whatever. And then we've just recently added a communications team, and of course that team's responsible for a lot of social media posts, emails, and promoting and stuff such as that. And so far, I think it's going pretty good. I think the two groups are really finding how to work in lockstep with each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, from being part of, I'm on the events coordinator team, and it's really incredible. And it's in a way, it's almost overwhelming to go from where we were at. And I'm sure you're seeing it.
Yeah.
From where we were at 6 months ago, the first of the year, when we were kind of talking about starting to do some of these things.
Yeah.
Where there was very little communication. We'd maybe hear from each other once a month.
Yeah.
And then you kind of forget what I was supposed to get done or who am I supposed to talk to. To now, it's like, it's daily conversation.
Oh yeah.
We're using Basecamp, which is a online, kind of like team hub type of situation. And my Lord, there's just so much going back and forth that it's in a way it's very refreshing. In a way, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But in a way, to anybody out there who wants to become a member, that was one of the biggest challenges when we were at some kind of a outdoor show or something like that. We were still so young and so small that somebody asked you like, well, what do I get with my membership, or what are we doing here in New York? And it was hard because we're still in the building stage as far as building a community and building a group here of members in New York. So it was kind of hard to say like exactly what we're doing because we're still building. Yeah. But now it's like, and this kind of lead us into what we're doing in September. Yeah. Like, I feel like we are such a mobile group now, and we have so many different peoples from different areas of the state with different experience levels, with different ideas, that now we're starting to actually put things together that we can actually offer to not just our members, but the general public to help them and get them involved in the outdoors and public lands. Yeah. Coming up here in September, we've got a virtual
Learn to Hunt series coming up. You know, it's mainly geared toward folks that have never hunted before, that have just taken their hunter safety education course and ready to get out in the woods. And, you know, so we'll be talking about, it's a 4-part series. You know, we're going to be talking about, you know, you got your license, so now what? You know, how do you approach, get into the woods, taking the shot? You know, what are some considerations that you need to be thinking about before you take the shot, and then what do you do, you know, after you've successfully harvested an animal,
Right?
You know, so it's just the basics. It's geared toward the brand new hunter, but certainly we welcome. You know, it's going to be I believe it's going to be a open,
Kind of open forum type
open
situation.
forum for folks to, you know, and by all means, you know, we'll certainly welcome anybody that wants to jump in and, you know, offer some good sound advice for our new hunters. You don't necessarily have to be, you know, on the board or on the team. You know,
Yeah.
certainly everybody's got something to offer.
Yeah.
And so we're looking forward to that. Real excited about it. So, and yeah, you're right. There's so much stuff going on. It's, you know, with my career as a firefighter, I was always, you know,
You were putting out fires.
right, and I always, you know, the chain of command and the whole, you know, I always knew what was going on, and these guys here and gals, I just trust. You know, I just look at it and say, there's really nothing a Gen Xer can add to this conversation.
I know.
So I just I trust them, and they're doing good things. It's going to be exciting.
That's
So,
great. I'm excited to see what happens. You know, and we're doing something that is new and different, and I think that's what is a testament to what our group is in New York.
Yeah,
is that it's a group of people that are thinking outside the box. We're trying to figure out, and I think it was Matt that we had that conference call a month ago.
Yeah.
And we were all kind of getting frustrated because we're running into roadblocks when we're trying to set up,
right,
you know, cleanup events at
Just
trailheads and state parks and things like that. We're hitting roadblocks. We're getting told we can't go do events with people with more than 20 people, whatever.
Right.
So it's like there's just frustration building. And I think finally, it was Matt on the call, like kind of snapped. He's like, well, I feel like we're just spinning our wheels. What are we doing? And then everybody just kind of like freezes. And then a bunch of us started just throwing ideas like we need to engage the new hunter out there. It doesn't even have to be the first year new hunter. It can be, it's a community thing. It's not so much because if you jump on, we're going to do this on Facebook. It's going to be a Facebook Live event. The Thursday night, every Thursday night through the month of September. And you tune in, and it's some entertainment. It's people talking, sharing their ideas. So you might be somebody who's brand spanking new and doesn't have a clue about any of this stuff, or you might be somebody who's been doing it for 20 years, and you can, you know, message in and throw your 10 cents in about an idea you have, and that stuff is going to be forever available for anybody to go back and watch again, learn from, use as a resource.
Yep.
It's like, and you can probably tell from me, like, this is the stuff that gets me fired up. It's how can we reach these new people? Because the people don't need, you know, they don't need somebody to go out and walk around in the woods and help them pick up garbage.
Right.
They need somebody to help them get started right now.
Sure.
And I'm not seeing a whole lot of organizations. It might be going on, but what we're doing virtually, engaging directly with people and having a panel of individuals who are just regular old Joes, not some guy that's shot, you know, 20, you know, Boone and Crockett bucks and is sponsored by all these people. It's like, I like listening to them. But I also want to know what Glen's doing to find success in the fall, because that's the type of person I am. I'm just a regular guy.
Yeah, I'm just a regular old guy. Yeah. Just goes out there and gets lucky every now and then.
That's what most people are, you know.
But, you know, and that's just it. What are you going out there for, you know? To me, you know, I don't think many of us are on subsistence hunting here, but to me it's the experience, man. I just love getting out in them woods and just listening to the quiet, if that makes sense.
For sure.
And just enjoying it. So
yeah,
but it's for everybody, and I'm real excited about this new program. We'll see where it takes us.
Yeah.
You know, we're wanting to some of the things that, you know, that I'm thinking about is and you know, we'll be talking about it over the next couple months, is a R3 program, Hunting for Sustainability. That's BHA's program, if you will. So, you know, we're going to be working on how, you know, we can incorporate this to, you know, to maybe not necessarily maybe just complement other programs that are out there.
Yeah.
Not do the same thing. We don't want to, copycat nobody, but
Yeah.
we want to do something that's going to complement other things that are happening out there.
Yeah, I like that.
And, yeah.
Because that's I think that's one of the things that we're definitely trying to do here in New York is engage with the other conservation organizations that are out there, like National Wild Turkey Federation and Quality Deer Management. And I know Todd was very involved last year in that QDMA Field to Fork program up in the Saratoga area that won that award for the event of the year with QDMA. And like there's a lot of other organizations doing great things. And I think that's what's unique about. And I think it's important for people that, especially new people coming into the outdoors, to understand kind of what the place is for each one of the conservation organizations.
Yeah.
BHA is focused on the land. If you're concerned about a specific animal and that's all you care about, or if you care about, there's been stuff back and forth about predator management and BHA won't take a real firm stance on that. Like, I get the political side of it because that's not what we're about.
Right.
BHA is about the land, is about conserving it, getting people involved to understand that access.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's not about predator management. It's not about, should we shoot this many deer or that many bears,
Exactly.
whatever. So it's each organization, and if you're listening to this, you need to pick, you can pick all of them.
Yeah.
For a very small amount of money, you can be a member and a voice of each one of those organizations. But if one of those things is more important to you than another, don't get pissed off at one organization because they're not speaking to what you want. Well, it's like, well, then maybe that's not the exact organization for you,
right?
Based off of the things that you're passionate about.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, but those are some of my feelings on it.
Exactly. Perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, a lot of good stuff coming down the line, I hope. So we'll see.
So what is September's Public Lands Month? Explain what that is.
Yeah, so September, BHA is running some promotions on Public Lands Month. That's what we're here for, backcountry hunters and anglers, and that's the main mission is access to public lands and waters. And don't let I'll just kind of sidetrack a little bit here. So don't let the name of the organization hang folks up. Backcountry hunters and anglers. It's all, as far as I'm concerned, it's all outdoor recreation, hiking, kayaking, whatever. If you're, just go out and do a little overnight camping trip. If you're using public lands, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers is, a really good organization to join to make sure you continue to have that.
Yeah.
And so
because of that access piece is the big focus.
Oh yeah.
You've got, BHA is actively working to, be involved if whether they're procuring or they're helping, helping get the financial funding to procure a piece of property.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to Meat Eater, and then I was listening to a different podcast out of Maine, the Big Woods Bucks podcast, and they were talking about they had I really like what they did. There was a pint night going on. This podcast was there, and they were interviewing a bunch of different people that are part of BHA.
Yeah.
And I think it's the New England chapter. I don't think they have one specifically for
Maine.
Maine.
New England.
And they had a girl on there, and she's young. She's active in the organization. And they were talking. It wasn't particularly her. I liked what her message was and how she looks at BHA. But they had I forget the gentleman's name, but he was on there talking about what they're doing to purchase a piece of property that was private but had open rights for people to use it.
Yeah.
And now the property is up for sale, and BHA and some other conservation organizations are involved in bringing together the money needed to buy that, to turn it into full public, long-term property that's owned by public.
Yeah, because there are, mainly out west, but there are big blocks of land that are landlocked.
Yeah.
And it's all public land, so that's one of the main focuses of BHA is that access point. So, and it's huge.
Yeah.
So,
and I cut you off there, but I guess the other point I was going to make is that, and that's the point that the girl was making on that other podcast, is that, it's really important to get those backpackers and to get those hikers and trail runners, maybe people that they've never hunted, maybe they've fished, because fishing seems to be a little bit more like trained, people just like, oh, I fished at Grandma's Pond when I was a kid. But hunting to some people is a foreign thing, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
So getting, being an organization that is kind of putting a hand out and saying, hey, other outdoor enthusiasts, come check us out and let's talk. Let's talk about, why we like to hunt, why we like to kill animals, and why we feel it's part of conservation and keeping all this place, this environment that we have, the public land, even the private land, keeping everything sustainable. Why is it important? If we aren't, in this day and age, there's so much like, if you think that, I don't want to talk to you because I don't want to argue with you about it. Whereas I think BHA is kind of that group where we all love the outdoors.
Yeah.
we all love this park we're sitting at right now.
Yeah,
you might not hunt, but let's sit down and talk. Like, this is why I feel this way. Why do you feel that way?
Yeah.
So, BHA is kind of that open forum, open organization where you feel comfortable having those conversations.
Yeah, exactly. So, but so going on with, September, Public Lands Month, BHA is running a promotion, and whereas if you sign up during September, typically you'll get a, I think now you get a sticker or maybe a T-shirt or something, but for the month of September, if you sign up, $35 for individual membership, or I think it's like $85 for a 3-year membership. It's all on the website. You'll get a limited edition First Light BHA hat, and that's the only way you're going to be able to get it. So I don't know if many folks, use First Light gear or Sitka gear or any of that other gear, but I was always one of those ones that was like, it's just, high price stuff, but it ain't. Well, I tell you,
it's worth the money.
It's worth the money, for sure. But anyway, so if that interests you, getting a First Light hat, that's going to be running the whole month, and then the chapters, they also get a little bit of something back from it too. I think they got BHA is going to be giving the chapters some a Savage rifle for the most percentage increase, and then they're handing out another Savage rifle and we would raffle that off for the most members signed up.
Nice.
And so it's kind of two-pronged. You become a member of a really good organization, growing nationwide, and one that has got some teeth to it, if you will. The politicians are listening to BHA now, and if you want to be, and here in New York, we certainly welcome. We need more members. We're currently, I think we're 970 something, which is probably about 10th down the list. So we'd certainly like to get up over 1,000. I'd like to be way up over that, if we can.
Yeah.
And I think we've got the folks here in New York to do that. So if you're not a member yet, by all means go to backcountryhuntersangler.org and sign up.
Yeah. And if you're on social media, you'll probably see advertisements. I think once it comes to September, if it's in your realm, you'll start to see some of that stuff. You click on those. And I think my mother-in-law actually signed up last year because it had a free shirt. And all of a sudden she comes over one day and she's like, look at my new shirt. I'm like, where'd you get that? She's like, oh, I saw it on Facebook. I joined. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah. So, I'm sure they're going to be running advertisements on that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You got a long list of stuff there, Mike.
Oh, no, it ain't a whole long list.
Okay.
So
it's just a bunch of words.
So
we talked about your background. So part of September with Public Lands Month is what we would normally be doing would be larger group like pack out events. And a pack out for us and for the organization is going in and finding it, whether of a trailhead or a dump site that somebody just likes to drive their truck in there and dump off all their recyclables that they, for whatever reason, feel like that's the best place to put them.
Right.
So that historically, that's what that's an initiative that we see done in the month of September.
Mm-hmm.
So this year we're also doing the same thing. As we talked, we might have a challenge doing some of that stuff in person, but by all means, you can do that solo if you're out for a hike. Take a garbage bag and pick up a few pieces, and if you take a picture, if you're on social media and you want to share that you were doing that, I think it's you'd use hashtag public lands pack out. I believe is at the hashtag.
Yep.
We should have our comms team on here to fact check us.
Yeah, I think that's what. Again, all this will be coming out too.
Yeah, so it'll be out there, but that's something to be thinking about too. When I went for my hike on Sunday, I took a garbage bag.
Yeah.
And, found a couple soda bottles in places where I'm like, how the hell did this get here? But picked up I found an empty slug shell and a glove right next to each other in like the middle of the woods, and I'm like, so something happened here.
Yeah.
There was an empty slug, so. And I don't see any bones around, so I think everybody's okay. But I'm guessing something got shot there.
Yeah,
so mental note. You find an empty slug in the woods.
Yeah.
Might be a decent spot.
Yeah, it might be.
Mental note.
But yeah, on that public lands pack out, like you were saying, we used to, pre-COVID, we would get a big group together and focus on one area. But I think this year we're going to be promoting more of a individual or 2 or 3 person smaller groups just going out picking up. And so I want to say First Light and somebody else, another company, I thought I said it here. Anyways, they're matching $5 a bag. They're going to be giving BHA 5, so essentially $10 a bag.
Nice.
And then that revenue would come. Part of that some of that would come back to the chapter, but it's all going to BHA.
Yeah.
So you just take a picture of your bags, hashtag it, and we'd get credit for it. So
nice.
So yes, I think I want to say last year it was over 600 bags were packed out. So we'd like to do.
Could be a nice little chunk of change.
Yeah. So it'd be good.
Why not? I think that's something that's come to me. I used to walk by garbage in the woods all the time now, and now it's like. Even just going for a run on the side of the road, I'm like, oh, God, there's garbage. Oh, there's garbage. I don't know if it's just part of growing up and you just become more aware. I mean, I was young and dumb throwing beer cans at stop signs when I was younger too.
Yeah.
That's just, you're just young and don't think about that stuff. But, as you grow up and you start thinking, it's like, well, that's littering. And if I don't pick that up, it's probably going to sit there forever and not decompose because it's metal or it's glass, whatever.
Yep.
So, it's kind of fun being part of the solution, like you said in the beginning of this, and not part of the problem,
Right. So so they're also having a couple other campaigns going on, and again, like you said, our comms team will be bringing, having the details will be coming out on this. I don't want to, misspeak here and say we're going to do something that we're not going to do. But we've got
that's okay. That's what podcasts are for, is saying stuff that's going to get you in trouble.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get fired or not.
No, I mean, you're a volunteer. What are they going to do, fire
you? So they got a campaign going too. It's Vote Public Lands and Waters. If you're following Instagram, they've already started a little bit of that. So just, I think the main focus there is whenever you go to the ballot box, just kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And and then we got Public Land Day is going to be on the 26th, and the comm team will be coming out with what we're going to be doing on that that day. So I don't know if we've got anything ironed out for that just yet, but we're working on it. And then the other thing would be we're going to have it looks like we're going to have a photo contest. BHA has got a photos contest going on this year, and so there'll be a lot more information come out on that too. I mean, I know that there's a ton of photos that get taken on these public lands.
Yeah.
So just pay attention. Just watch the social media, Facebook and Instagram, and you'll be seeing a lot more information come out on that as on the particulars, the details of how it's going to work and that sort of stuff.
For sure.
So yeah.
Anything else on the BHA side of the house you wanted to chat about?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we kind of went on a couple nice little
little
detours there too, which I enjoy. I'm in one of those moods today. I guess I'm just like fired up, like I told you. The thing that got me fired up this morning was, and I don't know if you've seen it floating around, but there was a letter that was written by some hunter ed instructors to the state that were, they were announcing their resignation of, no longer wanting to be hunter ed instructors because of the change that the state made.
Yeah.
That they see that this is going to be the long-term solution. So I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but it's something I just read that, and I read it earlier I think last weekend, and then I saw it again this morning, and I'm just like, it frustrates me because we have an opportunity here. Like none of us asked for this. This isn't something that we wanted to have happen, but we have a situation where, and it's why we're doing this Learn to Hunt series.
Yeah.
We have a situation where, whether we like it or not, the hunter education program changed because of COVID. Now it's online, and for the first time, and instead of having, let's just say 2,500 or 3,000 new hunters in New York State this year, we have, I don't know the number. I know what the number was after 1 month, and it was over 20,000. So I'm going to say it's 30,000+ people.
Yeah.
Like, we have an opportunity here to welcome a hell of a lot of people into our corner and welcome them into our community.
Yeah.
And instead of everybody trying to find the hole in every single thing that's going on, why don't we take a look at this as a group and say, wow, well, we have 1,000 hunter ed instructors out there. What can those 1,000 people do to engage with these new hunters and mentor them or anything else? And then it comes down to all of us doing what we're doing individually and with something like BHA.
Right.
Like, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. The whole hunter ed thing it's a big change, and I understand where they're coming from. But
yeah. I mean, it's a big change, but as you were saying, that's the reality of the situation. So how do you take a bad thing and make it good? I mean, that's just the kind of attitude you got to have. It's like, wishing something to be different. It just ain't gonna be. I mean, this is how it is, and I'm pretty sure I don't know. Well, I'm just my personal opinion. I bet New York is thinking, hey, this is a pretty good deal. This online thing, and I think that I don't think you get I haven't taken it online. I did my bow hunter course online.
Did you?
Yeah, and it was part of it was online and part of it's in class. But I think the online part was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think it's good. So how do you capitalize on that? How do you connect with those people, and and the instructors? How do they do something they were passionate about, but now it's not in that same arena that you're comfortable with. It's a whole new day.
Yeah.
We're here, and so I agree. If you still love it and want to do it, then you got to find a way to make it work, just like we're kind of doing right here. With BHA, with this virtual Learn to Hunt. It ain't like, would we rather be out, on a national forest or state forest somewhere and walking people through the woods? Yeah, but that just ain't the reality of it.
Yeah.
So
it's just different. I don't know. I guess I would just challenge everybody. I guess it's almost a theme of this conversation is everything that's going on. None of this isn't anything anybody planned for.
Right.
But you have outcomes, and with outcomes, you have the opportunity to change and the opportunity to evolve and get better.
Right.
And yes, is there concerns about hunter safety and people understanding where to go and what to do and how to do it? Yes.
Yeah.
But you got to sit back, every individual listening to this and every person who's out there in these situations, say, what can I do?
Yeah.
It might be that one person in your social circle that is interested in getting started and took their license. Just give them a little bit of your time.
Yeah.
Go out and shoot with them for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of something, because that's all those people need. They have the groundwork. They took the course. They passed the test.
Yep.
Now just give them a little bit of your time. And that's, and I've said it on here, and I'll continue to say it. And I don't know if I'll say it the same way I said it before, because it sounded real good. But it's like, I physically can't mentor 500 people.
Yeah.
But this podcast can reach unlimited amount of people.
Yeah.
The videos we're making on BHA that we're going to do in September can reach the unlimited amount of people for unlimited amount of time.
Exactly.
So it's trying to figure out different ways to do that mentoring.
Yeah.
And to be that resource. And yes, I have a voice on a podcast, but I've got several people that I've created relationships with through this podcast that I never in a million years would have met them.
Yeah.
And we're on a social situation now where they can literally just pick up the phone and call me, and we just start chatting about stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I can, whether they might be more experienced hunters than I am, but it's creating a relationship and an opportunity to, exchange information and mentor and help guide and lead.
Yeah.
So,
this podcast, it's like, how do you take the technology that's available to us today in the situation that we're in with this pandemic and make it work for you? You got to reset a little bit and think about it, but yeah, I mean, I think it's unlimited on the good that it can do. You know, it can
Yeah.
do a lot of good.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that's kind of near and dear to me is just ethical hunting, which BHA is. You know, they promote that too. You know, fair chase. And so I got a little nephew. He's just coming up into the age, and so like, you know, I want to grab him. So, you know, here's how because I know how I was brought up.
Yeah.
But where I'm at now is like, you know, down in Florida we dog hunted a lot. You know, you know, that's how I grew up.
You hunted a lot of different things with dogs, right?
Yeah, well, mainly deer, but
Mainly
yeah,
deer.
hunted a lot of. But you know, and that's fun to hear a pack of dogs running through the woods. But ain't nothing like getting out there still hunting. You know? So, but my point is, you know, just taking that initiative and being that mentor and bringing that young person in. He's 11, going to be 12, but you know, that could be you know, somebody that 25 or 40 or 50 or whatever that's just getting into hunting. You know, you want to bring them in and really instill a good foundation on folks. You know, and so yeah, I think you got a good opportunity to do that in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know, so
And we all do. Everybody, in whatever way you can, everybody can make a difference.
That's right.
Whether it's one person, 10 people, 1,000, you know, you can, whatever your level of availability is, you can make an impact. So
yeah.
In our own little world here, all I think about at this point in my life is my family, work, and hunting. So in those areas, if I can do anything I can do to make things better, you know, I think that's the duty of all of us.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, is
That's
to
right.
affect what you can affect and not dwell on the things you can't control.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what all of us are doing. Not all of it. I feel like that's the world we live in now, is that everybody, we're all guilty of it. I can do it. You know, you turn on the radio and you start listening to the news, and it's like I just start dwelling on stuff I have zero control over.
Yeah.
And for all I know, it could be all complete bullshit too. So
Yeah.
it's like,
You
I'm
know,
getting worked up about this for nothing.
It's like we're technology, you know, it's good and bad, but it's like we've come. It's like we're so fast paced for a while. For a long time, we've been. Everything has got to have it right now. I got a question I want to answer right now. You know, it's fast, and I think this pandemic has caused some of us to kind of pump the brakes just a minute. You know, just let's take a break, and just kind of slow it down a little bit and see what's important.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of, you know, makes you reflect on, you know, what's going to make a difference. You know, and you know, getting on and raising Cain about stuff, that ain't going to change nothing.
No.
You know, but having a conversation about stuff and working toward a common goal, you know, having access to public land, that's a common goal. We can all do that from all different backgrounds. It don't matter.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
So yeah,
I guess I would say that's one thing that we should. You know, I'm just sitting here thinking about as a group here in New York with BHA is that we should. That's one of the things that I think a lot of people don't know how to become involved in their local political arena when it comes to these like public lands discussions or, you know, land use discussions or even getting involved with organizations is something I, you know, near and dear to me because I've hunted Nature Conservancy or Finger Lakes Land Trust. They have property that you can get involved in their hunting programs, which is great, but I don't know exactly where they stand on a lot of the, you know, obviously they're letting us hunt deer on it, but where do they stand on all the other things, and do they have hunters at the table part of those conversations? And I'd love to be at the table to discuss some of that stuff. But how do you get there? Yeah. So we're having a guy from the Western New York Land Conservancy. So it's just a Western, so it's very similar to the Finger Lakes Land Trust. And we're having him on here in a week or two. And I'm interested just to learn from him because I met him at our pint night in Buffalo. Yeah. Like literally the Thursday night before the state got shut down, we were all drinking beer together at Rusty Nickel in West Seneca, and never met him, didn't know. He just heard about us, and he's interested in what we were doing. A biologist, young guy, Josh. Yeah. And I'm excited to sit down and talk with him just to because there's a lot going on. He couldn't really engage in a conversation, but just to understand where his organization's coming from and how can we get involved as hunters or anglers or people that are just active in the outdoors, get involved with them to be a voice at the table. You know, because if you're not there, to your point, if you're not in the game, you can't win.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. If you ain't in, you can't win. That's
Yeah.
for sure. So
Yeah, it's going to be – that's something I think we should try to – I don't know if it's been talked about with you guys on the board or not, but, you know, figuring out a way to help give people the guidance on how to get involved.
yeah,
Because that's challenging. I don't know. You know, you can send emails, but
yeah.
is it doing anything? I don't know.
Right, right. And, you know, and I've got on our chapter email, I get emails all the time, folks. You know, hey, I just signed up. How do I join? It's kind of frustrating for me, or not how do I join? How do I get more involved? And it's kind of frustrating right now, you know, with things being shut down. You know, it's kind of hard to tell them, say, well, we're just.
It's not a whole lot we can do.
There ain't a whole lot we can do, but we're getting there. So, you know, it's but I see that too. It's like, man, you got folks that are really energized, and man, you want to capitalize on that momentum while you got it.
For sure.
And so I think with this virtual Learn to Hunt, I think hopefully it'll catapult us right to the next level of social media world, if you will. And
Either it will or it won't.
yeah, and you know, like this podcast, there's unlimited amount of topics you can talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and reaching that audience goes far beyond, you know, what I could ever imagine. I mean, globally, if you really get down to it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's been so fun to watch, is to watch how it's grown over the last year. We're about a year in now.
Yeah.
And just watching the states that we have listeners in that we didn't have 4 months ago.
Yeah.
You know, there are, every once in a while we get a random download from other countries. Like, I don't know. I'm assuming it's people that I know that now live in Europe.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing. There's no way that I'm like somehow some random person. I don't know, maybe. But it's just really cool to do that. But at the end of the day, it comes back to New York is our base, and
Yeah.
we get a fair amount of listeners from Pennsylvania and, you know, Vermont. But it's this area, and there's just like, it's no different for us than it is for a group like BHA. It's like, you just like, how do we reach new people? Because a lot of times it feels like you're in an echo chamber and you're only talking to the group of people that
Right.
you're talking to. Like, how do I get new people? And you can advertise, you can market, you can spend money at it, but it's like,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel dirty about that, because it's like, is this even real, or is it just I paid to put it out there, and now all of a sudden I have all these
Yeah.
new followers, but are they really interested in what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So it's what we're getting. I guess that's the progress. I mean, you talk about where BHA started, you know, 5 years ago here in New York. I mean, at 100 members,
Yeah.
we've, you know, almost 10 times that now.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, it's growing, and every year that goes by, every week that goes by, everything that we do, more
Yeah.
and more people learn about it. And if it's something that speaks to them, they want to get involved. So it's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah. That's for sure.
So enough about that. We're at about an hour on the button. I want to talk a little hunting with you. 'Cause
Yeah.
We haven't really talked much hunting. What's going on with you for the fall?
Well, first thing coming up is Idaho elk hunt. We're leaving out.
You guys are going.
Yeah, we're leaving out September 15th. And so, yeah, looking forward to that. And
It'll be your third year, right?
second
Second.
year for me.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we're headed out, the three of us, and we're going to have a good time and hopefully get some success.
Who's going? You and Garrett?
Me and Garrett and Mike. Populous. I'm going to murder his name.
Yeah. From Albany.
Right.
Yeah, Papalopoulos.
Yeah, that's right.
I have no idea. His name that's quite a mouthful.
Yeah. But I call him Mike P. So,
Gotcha. That's easier.
But yeah, so we're headed out there, and we'll be out there for either till October 1st or sooner. You know, we'll come back. Hopefully we'll get out there, and I think we got a good spot picked out, so we'll
Is
we'll
it an
see.
area you've been before, or a new area?
We went there last year, and it was we almost connected, but just couldn't quite seal the deal. So a lot of sign there, a lot of good habitat. Looks good. So, and there wasn't that many people. Now you think about, you know, New York and the public lands here. You know, there's literally, I can go to a couple forests right there within 5-10 minutes of my house, and I can hunt all day long and never see nobody.
Yeah.
You go out to Idaho, get on a 1 million acre, you know, salmon chalice forest, and run into 15 people.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's nuts.
I know. I'm interested to see if that's different this year around here with the influx of hunters to see. But my experience has been the same. Like if you go on opening day, there's going to be people there. But outside of that, it's like
Right.
There's nobody out there.
So yeah, so that coming. I'm just got into bow hunting last year. So as soon as we get back from that, go right into bow hunting. And so.
Are you hunting archery in Idaho?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's just it. And then hunting back here. Probably try to go down around Naples, New York.
Yeah.
With Brett.
You stay away from Frank and Beans, all right?
Oh, is that where he's at?
Yeah. I'm gonna put a. I know what you're driving. I hope you're not driving your wife's vehicle when you go down there, because I'll be watching for you. I got people.
I know you do. I ain't no way I'd step foot.
No.
There's every angle of that whole property.
We got
under surveillance.
Oh yeah, we just bought a cutty.
I wouldn't be surprised if y'all don't have a drone flying around up there keeping track of it.
That's too much. But we did just get a cutty link system, so it's gonna be a Glen Stratton monitoring system.
No. But there's some there's a state forest down there. High
Tor.
Yep. That's a good looking place.
Yeah, it's awesome in there.
Yeah. That's a pretty
It's
spot.
rugged. It's a lot of up and down. There's a lot of beautiful hemlock stands. I think there's some decent oak in there too. So yeah, and I didn't realize that. Christ, his name's Brett. I mean, where his cabin is, that is a freaking awesome spot.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been there to his cabin?
Yeah.
Because him and I chatted maybe a month ago, and I didn't realize. So I run. There's a trail run that's down there every spring in April called the Muddy Sneaker.
Yeah.
And it literally starts like at his cabin.
Okay.
But I had no idea. So he just got that place maybe last year.
Yeah, last year.
And Jesus, I mean, what a freaking find! I mean,
Oh,
he's
man.
literally like in the state land. He can walk out his door and be hunting.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we him and Garrett, we a couple years, well, not last year before last, we went to Letchworth.
Mm-hmm.
So we was going to kind of start a annual hunt there, and he got this place here. I'm like, man, this is pretty nice.
Yeah, why drive anywhere?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
walk out the door.
Heck yeah, boy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah.
But
Do you up by you? Is there pretty decent deer hunting up by you where you live?
Yeah. Well,
because you're right at the base of Tug Hill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go up to I go up with Garrett sometimes up on the Tug Hill to around Fish Creek, that area up in there, big conservation easement, and we hunt there. Got several state forests I like to go to right there around the house. Although all the deer that I've killed have been on my property. I'll go spend, days, week, whatever, out, tell my wife, I'm gonna go hunt here, go hunt there, and just go enjoy the day, see some pretty cool stuff. But
yeah,
inevitably I'm just gonna slip out back this morning.
Is that what happened with that buck you shot last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was right before, because you guys you're in rifle up there. You're in the northern zone.
Yeah, right.
So that was because I was looking actually back through my pictures last night, giving some stuff to Nate for our photo file, and you shot that buck, was it like the 16th last year?
Something like that, yeah.
15th?
Yeah.
It was a cold day, too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was cold. Snowed, so it was pretty chilly sitting up there. But you come by about 9 o'clock, so.
You got to be out there.
You got to be there.
If you're not in it, you can't win it. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, that's
wise
right.
man say.
But it's kind of interesting because opening day of bow season, I was in that same stand that I shot this buck out of, and I'm confident it was him and another bigger buck walked by me, just out of range, and I had a doe and a fawn under my stand like all morning long watching me, and then a little spike horn or 4-point, little spike at 4-point. He was there watching me too, and my first time ever bow hunting, so I'm like messing around. And I said, I'm just gonna see if I can stand up. So about the time I was just gonna try to, because I was sitting down, and I'm just learning all this bow hunting business, and so I kind of eased up and got stood up, and he was fine, And then about that time, I caught a glimpse out of mine. They come walking by. Well, so I shot that one buck, and then my wife and we were out hiking around, and I found a deadhead, and I'm pretty sure it was that other buck that was with him. So,
and the other buck that was with him,
he was a little bit bigger.
But did you hit him, or somebody else?
Somebody,
or something he got hit by a car or whatever.
Something happened to him. Just found him laying there, full skeleton, nice rack head, so I've done a
That
European
sucks.
mount on him. But it's kind of neat. I'm getting into it's kind of interesting to age the deer.
Yeah.
So that deer, he was the deadhead that I found. He was 3.5, and that 9-point that I killed, he was only 2.5. And it's amazing that the difference in the size of the skull of those deer, and so it's pretty cool.
It is pretty fascinating to
Yeah.
try to age them. And, you know, up in your neck of the woods, there isn't the food that there is down here. So you can have out here in farmland, you can have a 2.5-year-old that could dwarf a 3-year-old up up there in the mountains.
Yeah.
But the body size might be different. You know, it's interesting seeing the difference. And we have such a diverse here in New York. We have so much ag land, but we have so much mountainous, all timber, you know, where they're just eating mass crop acorns and beech nuts and berries and you know, just stuff off the trees that you get totally different experiences across the state on what your deer are going to look like.
You know, and that's why I really like New York's DEC's program, Let Them Go, Watch Them Grow. And I've put a 6-point or better rule on myself years ago. I may even up it this year. We'll see. But
that's a rookie move. I mean, it took you an hour and a half to have that happen. But
let me turn that.
You're fine. I always have to make a shot at somebody if their phone goes off.
Yeah, no, man. I said that this morning. So I got to turn my phone off. Sorry about that.
You're okay.
But yeah, you know, I think it, and for me, the amount of bigger deer that I've been seeing since I've done that, it's night and day.
Yeah.
You know, you just get so much better experience if you just let them little ones walk on by.
Yeah.
You know? And personally, you know, if I got a fawn or even a yearling on a doe, I won't shoot them. I'll just let them go.
Yeah.
But
I think New York State is doing a fine job. You know, and I don't see the need at this time to really like put a firm antler restriction on, because I think you're seeing the quality of the bucks are just naturally it's happening because people are selecting to do that.
Yeah.
So I'd much rather see it like a selection rather than if you got a new hunter or if it's somebody that goes out and hunts one day a year and they need that meat for the freezer, if that's what their opportunity is at a small spike horn.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know, shoot what you want to shoot. But I think they're doing such a great job on the other side of that with the doe management here in New York.
Yeah.
That, you know, I go back and I think I was talking to my brother about this the other day. I was talking to somebody, one of my friends that, you know, they've done, you go back like 15 years ago, and it's probably before you lived here.
Yeah.
You know, you would just see just massive groups of does. I mean, if you were to be hunting up at our camp, you know, this is an area where there's not ag easily accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And you would, you know, if guys went out and didn't see 10, 15 deer a day individually, you know, on their own, then, well, that was a crap day of hunting. And then over time, you know, I think they started doing more with the DMAT permits, which farmers can get if you have nuisance situations where they're eating your crops, and then you get the DMPs, the dome management permits. As they increase the numbers of those, as a hunter, back then, not understanding the big picture of the management plan, you're like, oh, it's freaking, farmers are shooting deer and leaving them in piles, and it's like, you know, you just have this like doom and gloom perspective on things. But now, it's like, I feel like one of the reasons why we're seeing so many better bucks is because the health of the herd is so much better because you don't have the overpopulation that we had before. I mean, I think we really did have an issue where we had way too many deer. And if there's not enough habitat, you know, the herd's not going to be healthy. You're not going to get those big bucks. So there's more and more big bucks getting shot every year. I think it's because people are letting them go, and more people are shooting more does. And you know, if you can start doing more of both of those things, you know, there's the deer, they reproduce. Like there's not going to be a shortage of deer.
I don't
there
think
just
so.
Isn't. I don't see it happening. But you know, get out there, shoot some does, have some fun. You know, if you make the choice to let a small buck go for a bigger one.
Sure.
But you've already got, you know, 2 does in the freezer or a doe in the freezer.
Right. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
So it is. I think we've got a lot of good years of hunting here ahead of us here in New York. I think they're doing a good job.
I think it's going to get better too. So, but yeah, you know, one thing I never done a lot of is waterfowl hunting. And I know that like goose season's coming up. I do want to get into some of that. I like to try it out.
Yeah,
so.
I've never done that myself
I ain't either. So
always been so focused on deer and since I've been real big into focus on this stuff, it's been deer. But
Yeah.
I know I've got friends that are freaking. They just think it's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I've never done it, so I can't hate on it. But it doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
But I see how much they love it, and they choose it over going out and sitting in a tree stand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it must be a really damn good time.
I've only been duck hunting one time, and it was a good time. Had fun. But I would like to go start, dabbling in that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just add.
Is there? Well, I mean, you've got the St. Lawrence River and stuff up by you. I mean, I would assume that there's areas up your way that there is probably decent opportunity to do waterfowl hunting, right?
Yeah, there is. I know Nate Kennedy there. He's a big waterfowl hunter.
Well, he lives in a great spot now. He lives in Geneva. So
Yeah.
I know that the Montezuma Swamp, that area with the the north ends of each of those Finger Lakes there, it's a huge culture in that area. Duck hunting, goose hunting.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. So I would someday I will dabble in that, and I would imagine you probably have a damn good time with it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I would get them. But this fall I might try to get my fall turkey with archery. Try it out.
That'd be cool.
Just see.
Do you have many turkeys in your area?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's quite a few there. So matter of fact, again, whenever I hunted, me and my dad was up this year, and we hunted everywhere. And the second to the last day, I just told my wife again, so I'm going out back. It was raining that morning, windy. I almost didn't go. I said, no, I'm going. Sure enough. And she sat right on the back porch.
It's predictable.
Yeah, that turkey, he started gobbling. And I was talking back to him, but she could hear me a little bit. And, and so what does she do? She goes to text me. Hey, is that you? You hear that turkey? I'm like, yeah, I'm hunting.
I'm trying to kill that turkey, yes.
So it was pretty cool. She sat there and listened to the whole thing. She watched him. He circled all the way around me.
It's awesome.
Come in. So, yeah.
And what do you have 40 acres? Is that what you got?
40 acres.
Yeah, that's a nice piece of property. It's
Yeah.
a good size.
Yeah, and it's woods all around. I got Amish that live, right next door to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's pretty good hunting.
Does Garrett tarnish any of those Amish individuals putting bad ideas in their heads, or what do you? No.
No.
Garrett stays clear.
Yeah, we.
That's probably for the better.
Yeah.
Could cause trouble, that man.
Yeah.
That mustache.
Yeah.
That's hilarious that I thought that you were his father. The first time I met you guys, we were in Batavia there at that pint night, and I'm like, oh, your dad over there. And he's like, it's not my dad. It was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, Gary, he's a good guy.
Yeah,
I like him.
So on kind of wrapping this, man, every once in a while we get just those gusts of wind,
Yeah.
and then it's perfectly calm.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear your first buck story, if you got one. I would assume it happened in Florida.
Yeah, it did actually. We was trying to remember. Well, first deer I shot was in Florida. It was on the Apalachicola National Forest.
Okay.
It was on a dog hunt. It really wasn't nothing spectacular to it. But the best buck story I got, it was one of the first ones I got up in New York. And I went over, matter of fact, my brother-in-law, I was non-resident then. And so when I come up hunting, I'd only be just for a short time. And so he said, why don't you come on over? And he said, they have a 6-point and better rule. He said, but being you're, just got a limited time. He said, if you see like a 4-point, nice 4-point, he said, you can go ahead and shoot it. So I was
This is on some private property?
Yeah,
or something,
private property. And so I'm just standing, I'm kind of leaned up against a tree, and I catch a movement. So I scope it, and sure enough, it's a buck. So he's a 4-point, and I watched him. I'm like, well, heck, do I shoot him or not? So I'm thinking about it. There's all kind of things that go through your mind before you actually pull the trigger, because that's a really big deal for me when I pull that trigger. And so I said, all right, I'm going to shoot him. So I lined him up and shot, and he dropped right down on his knees and stood right back up. And then, so I got a pump 30-06. And like I said, it was one of my first ones that I ever shot. So I wasn't used to jacking another one in. So that deer, I am not lying to you. He dropped right down on his knees, bam, stood right back up. I said, I hit him. and that joker comes straight up to me, and I'm not lying to you. He come within like 3 feet of me, and he's sitting there looking at me like, "You SOB, did you just shoot me?" I'm thinking to myself, what in the world?
What
so
do you do?
I'm gonna shoot him. So I pulled the trigger and nothing happened. I'm like, I about wore that trigger out trying to get that gun to fire. I'm like, what the heck? So finally he just turned and walked off. I'm like, I cannot believe that I just shot this deer. He ran up to me, looked at me, cussed me out for a minute, and then turned around and walked off. I missed him.
Oh, you clean missed him.
No.
Oh.
So I went to I went back down there. I said, I got to check this out. So I went down to where I shot him. I could see where his knees hit the ground, stood back up. So I tracked it all. I mean, it wasn't, it was probably not even 100-yard shot. Tracked him all the way back up to where I was standing. And right there as I got back up to where I was, I could see a little drop of blood. So I walked over, and he didn't go another 75 yards and laid over dead right there.
Huh.
But, yeah.
Did you hit him in the lungs, or where'd you hit him? Do you remember?
Well, I think I hit him just back a little bit. It wasn't a heart shot or nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just got come up there on adrenaline.
'Cause I just wonder if you hit him, if he dropped like that, if maybe you were a little bit. I don't know. That's interesting.
It could have been a little bit back.
Sometimes they don't know what hit him, especially if the bullet doesn't expand. So maybe
Yeah.
the bullet didn't expand if you didn't have a whole lot of a blood trail, maybe.
Yeah.
But had no clue what the hell hit him. He ran at you, and then
Yeah, he come straight to me. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this damn deer's bone. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna hook me with his horns or something. I didn't know what was going to happen.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, so that was like one of my first decent bucks, if you will, that I shot on the ground.
Yeah, that's
and I'd
awesome.
say probably about half and half of the deer that I've killed. Probably half have been on the ground, and half been in the tree stand.
Yeah.
So.
You prefer? You mentioned still hunt. You prefer to still hunt?
Yeah.
That kind of your jam.
Yeah, I like doing that.
Yep.
So yeah, and then I killed a pretty nice buck with Garrett up at his camp. Again, same thing. I was just slipping down the road, and I seen him. He was kind of down a draw, and as the road come back, it was an old road. As it come back up, I could see him. And he come right up to me. I mean, it was like there was no possible way I could miss him.
Yeah.
Dropped him right in his tracks. So.
Seems like still hunting is. My dad and I did a podcast the other night. We talked quite a bit about that. Still hunting doesn't. There's so much of a craze on tree stands and saddles and climbers and all this stuff. But still hunting, you can get out and you can walk into some pretty wild stuff.
Oh yeah.
Just poking through the woods.
Yep. Just easing along,
looking at what's going on, because they're doing the same thing. The deer are moving, and if you catch them in the right situation, you can.
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's some of the best opportunities you'll have are just poking through the woods.
Yep, that's right. So it's fun stuff. I love it. So.
Yep.
But yeah, I was looking at some of your stuff when y'all went down to Pennsylvania last year. Looked like y'all had some pretty nice drives.
Yeah, we've really started to. These are the Santa Ana winds.
Yeah.
We've really started to hone that trip in over the last 2-3 years, and using Onyx to last year. That was the new thing for us. You take 15 guys and you try to coordinate a drive, that's a freaking nightmare.
Yeah.
But we've really started, like last year it went pretty smooth. We had a couple days where we had some challenges with communication as far as getting the right people in the right spots to start the drive, but once everybody was where they needed to be, everything went perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But we used Onyx and would print out the maps, and then everybody, we would draw on the map where everybody's supposed to be and where they're supposed to go. And hindsight, one of the things we took away from that hunt that we're going to do this year is that we're going to draw up the hunts, and everybody's going to have that picture of the hunt on their phone, so that they can reference it when they're, if we're out of there's no cell service where we go.
Right.
So we use Garmin Rhinos is what we use.
Yeah.
And you can see everybody on the map if your radios be able to communicate with them. So you get into some of these valleys and you get people spread out over a couple, 2-3 miles. You're not picking up Dallas down the ridge. So it's fun. It's a totally different type of deer hunting that I never had any experience with, and I don't think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But it's a group hunt. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's you're covering a lot of ground. You're seeing a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
it's a riot.
It looked like it was a good time.
It is.
So
it's growing. We're, at some point you can only have so many people, but we might end up at some point breaking into a couple different groups, just hunting wise, because you get more than, you can do it, but it almost becomes counterproductive having that many people trying to pack into a a drainage. It's like they know you're there before you want them to know you're there.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's a whole new style of hunting, and I think that's fun if you can. That's the community aspect of it. It may not be the best hunt opportunity as far as if you want to try to harvest or kill a mature buck, but there's nothing like it.
Right.
Getting together with 10 of your buddies.
Oh yeah, good camaraderie.
Yeah, it's just
good memories.
Coming back to camp and tearing it up and telling stories and wrestling with each other. It's awesome.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
I'm excited that we've got all these new people coming into it this fall, and hopefully can get a bunch of them to catch the bug and create new memories and new traditions with their friends and family and stuff like that. So that's what it's all about, man.
That's it. Have that good experience.
Yep. So I got 2 pints of honey to drink before I go to bed tonight. I might have a bellyache, but stuff's pure and raw, delicious.
Yep. That's
I appreciate you giving that to me.
Oh yeah.
And we got shit falling all over the place.
Now,
what was that falling over there?
That was my hat.
Oh, that was your hat.
Yeah. Now be sure to give
Big Jim
one of these.
All right.
Now tell him I didn't say nothing on the social media, but I guess I'll say it here. He posted a Instagram here a while back about he had a really tight group of arrows in there. I was just gonna tell him that's not bad for 10 yards.
Yeah.
So
that's the truth behind
or
it.
5.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, I don't know. 10 max probably. But
it's all fake. You
Yeah.
put up there what you want, and I'll make sure he'll hear this because he's a devout listener. But it is so true. Like I think about that sometimes. And it's like, I post this picture, but it's like, you could say it was 50 yards, but is it really 50 or is it? It's like I'm gonna be honest with you. When I get out to 40 yards, I'm like this. But if I'm shooting an elk and it's like a pie plate, I'm
good. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm in the kill zone.
Big Jim knows. He knows that he's he's fake. He's one of those Instagram fake news guys.
Yeah.
But
as long as he knows it, we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And that every time he goes and puts some of this in his coffee, he'll remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell him I
Glenn
know.
knows I'm full of shit. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I appreciate what you're doing with with taking on the role with our chapter here in New York, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and look forward to seeing what the future brings and what we're able to do and all that good stuff. So I wish you the best of luck with your season. Coming up, hopefully you guys put a bull on the ground and get some bucks on the ground too, and maybe we can cross paths later in the season when we get up down Naples way and
that'd be great.
Pound some public land together. That'd be fun.
That'd be awesome. Kind of coordinate that a little bit.
Yeah,
so that'd be good. Well, Billy, I appreciate you having us on today.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Is there anything else you got to share with everybody?
No, I think just if you enjoy the public lands, just check us out. Backcountryhuntersandanglers.org. Yep.
Say it for me one more time.
And I'll be. Y'all haven't had any pictures of old Frank and Beans yet, have you?
No.
Y'all had some pretty nice ones.
He doesn't show up until the last 2 years. We don't get any pictures until middle of October, and then he shows up. So, and we haven't gotten shit for pictures of bucks.
Yeah.
And it's consistent every year.
Yeah.
But there's a shift happening right now. All of our cell cameras, they were hot, and now they've like totally turned off on the food sources on the travel corridor that we have them on. Yeah. So it's the change is happening, which is exciting. So
I've got to go reset our cameras. We got like 3 out on our place, and go set them out and check them out. So because they were pretty dead for a long time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's all about where that food is and what their focus is on. So
yeah, I've already got a lot of acorns already hitting the ground now. So
yeah, I've seen that.
I think things are early this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I saw a bunch of acorns walking around on Sunday. So yeah, they're out there. So they're dropping. Hopefully, it's a good mass crop year. And
I hope so.
Where they are, the deer and bear are, and if you're not in it, you can't win it.
That's right. Get in there and just be a part of it.
Be a part of it. All right. Thank you for jumping on. It was a fun conversation.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
So. Take it easy. hope you enjoyed this discussion between Glenn and I. If you could go over and give us a rating real quick, and if you're going to be doing any shopping, make sure to use those links in our bio. That link tree has got some of the common stores that many of us use, buying our hunting equipment or just brands in general that we're using. So any purchase you make by using our link will help get us a little commission and help old Slick Willie here keep paying the bills on the old podcast and Pertnear Outdoors side of the fence. So thank you so much. Have a good one.